Yo, little kids, turn off your TVs and listen to me. We about to do our ABCs. Y'all ready? Hey yo, A is for the AIDS, B is for the bullets, C is for the crime, D is for the dealers, E's for education, F is for freedom, G is for gangsters. Everywhere I see them, H is for...
It is January 6th, 2026. This is A Different Lens, a bi-monthly podcast produced by the Hampton Institute. Today we're going to have an interview with Vernon T. Bateman, who is an artivist, because his art and activism are difficult to separate and blend together so seamlessly. Not only does he use many media, from ink to acrylic paint and clay, but he's also an illustrator and author. He's published his first children's book, Mommy, I Want to Fly, in 2020, and has published since 4 more books, and has a few other on the way. One of his recent books, If Bullets Could Cry, which is about gun violence, has spawned into one of his many projects, Baby 22 Gun Safety LLC. This project collects donations from our people incarcerated for gun violence, allowing them the ability to make amends by financing funerals, hospital bills, and other expenses by the victims of gun violence and their families. Vernon was locked up in 1998. He was only 18 years old for a crime he didn't commit. There is no evidence tying him to the scene. The police never asked for any alibis, and his inadequate representation didn't challenge the trial's postponement after the alleged victim failed to appear. Moreover, in 2003, the alleged victim recanted her testimony, revealing a cop from Gary, Indiana, pointed him out of a lineup of photos and stating in court she had never seen Vernon before she saw his photo. Her family has pleaded for his exoneration. Despite these and many other grave miscarriages of justice, he spent 26 years incarcerated under terrible conditions. He was released in July 2023. He is still under severe restriction and illegal parole terms. He can't use the internet, needs special permission to attend church, is denied access to mental health treatment, and is routinely harassed by the state. They even took away his PlayStation during their last visit. You can learn all about Vernon and his struggle at freevernon.org, and I especially recommend the 10-minute documentary, 26 Years Too Long, Vernon T. Bateman's Fight for Freedom, and urge everyone to sign the petition for his exoneration. Both of those are going to be linked in the show notes. But yeah, so today we're going to talk to Vernon T. Bateman and Derek R. Ford, Derek R. Ford, our education chair, really about their friendship, and how they met, and just how their friendship has grown out from just focusing on Vernon's case to evolving into a deep, loving, caring friendship between the two men. Listen in. So my first question is, how did you guys meet each other in the first place?
I went to supporting Leon Benson on his exoneration press relief, and at the Liberation Center. And when I met Leon, when I already met Leon inside of prison. We was in prison together, and that's the day I met Derek on the way out, because I had a deadline to get back home, to get back inside before 9 o'clock. And me and Derek locked in, and then we've been locked in ever since.
Yeah. So Leon Benson was the first person exonerated after the Marion County Conviction Integrity Unit opened. And he was exonerated March 8th or 9th of 2023. And so he's from Detroit, and he came back for his 1-year rebirth at the Liberation Center. And now I had gotten contacted by somebody who's reliable on social media about another dude who needs exoneration, right? But because the circumstances, they weren't really talking about the name. And so I was on the panel at the time, and I saw somebody, dressed nice, suit, briefcase, get up about 8:30 with a couple other people and leave. And I was like, that's got to be the dude. And so I ran off the panel, and remember, and I chased him out the door and introduced myself. And I think like the next day we locked in. You came down here.
I asked him, what do you do? He like, I'm the leg work. I'm the leg work, man. That's how from there, we put it together. First, I thought he was an attorney or something.
And so, Vern, what was y'all's first impression of each other? Vernon, when you first met Derek, what was your first impression of this guy?
I knew he was. I saw how he was articulating himself and how he was speaking. When he was at the podium, I paid attention to how he moved, his body language and things like that. Like I'm paying attention to you, And once I read, then I asked him what was his title, and what do we do? And he was explaining to me, but I felt like from there, I like to call people bluff and see if you go do what you say. And so far, like he been what he said, he been his words. You know what I mean? He walked his words.
Because we had a relationship with Leon Benson. I remember protesting, outside the jail for his freedom. And, once if you watch the videos, the documentaries, and you kind of see Vernon, there's something about him that is, it's hard to put into words. But it is like, I don't think I've ever seen the human spirit and its capacity and ability to creatively like work and imagine a future that's different than our own, while also working under the constraints and the conditions, so somebody who's realistic and strategic but is not in it for themselves, and that like just immediately came across. And and the fact that like I think we met the very next day, that told me everything, because sometimes you'll meet people and yeah, I'll get in touch, but like next day he was in the office, we were building, going from there. And so that showed me like he's serious about this, and at that point we were just like, it was a political relationship, right? Trying to get him exonerated.
And so, right, given the context of how you guys became friends, right, revolving around, like you just mentioned, Derek, right, this case, right, this exoneration, um, did either of you have the idea, like, that your meeting would grow into a friendship, or was it more like, yo, we're going to focus on this case, and then, Vernon, you'll go your way, and Derek, you'll go your way.
Like when I first hung out with him and stuff, and he's playing NWA, and I'm thinking I'm like that. I'm like, I'm like, no, I'm like, yeah, he's solid, man. He's a good dude. And then we started building, and I saw the passion and really the desire in his heart to educate people and educate not just like the diversity of the people that he educate. That's what really sparked in me. Like he carrying a torch. Then I go into his office and I see signs and I see like that he been doing the leg work, you know what I'm saying? He been out here marching. So when you got a person that's know how to do the physical and the mental part of it and deliver it in that aspect, you gotta embrace something like that, you know what I'm saying? And it's coming in a form of healing. So you gotta embrace something like that.
Yeah, and I think I mean personally, yeah, mine originally it was like, the Indianapolis Liberation Center were about liberation, and so we want this dude needs to be liberated. Let's liberate him, um, and then just spending time with him because you got to get to know people. I mean, we studied the case and all that stuff, but that only tells you so much. But we just spent a lot of time together, and it turned out that we had a lot of similar qualities. We kind of both move at similar speeds, which can be a good and bad thing. And also, this is something my wife actually shared, Sarah Full, who's very smart, much smarter than me. But she was like, in all friendships, you teach each other things, you learn from each other. And so she was like, I think one thing that you're learning from Vernon is how to be a little bit more gentle in the world, because I have a tendency to, not be so gentle all the time. And that's not something that's just part of who Vernon is, right? But and so and I could act once she said that to me, which was months later, I could look back and see it, like how I've been learning that from him. And it's not like he's trying to teach it to me, Yeah, and just spending time together and then learning about all his different projects and like who he really is, like the books that he's written for the kids, the projects, and it's almost like, man, like you got like 8 full-time jobs. What am I doing? Like I got to set my game up, So we push each other too,
Yeah.
That's good to hear that you are pushing each other and that you're learning from each other and growing together. I don't know. This could be completely off base, but it just, I don't know. It's just a kind of feeling I get on some level, right? That a lot of times friendships or just kind of relationships nowadays can be pretty transactional. And it's good when you meet someone and y'all aren't thinking about, like you're not keeping score. You're not trying to do what can you get from them, what can they get from you type deal. It's just two people coming together who grow to care about and look out for each other.
No, definitely. And from day one, it wasn't like that. The Liberation Center, like I paid to volunteer here. Vernon, I mean, whatever money he raises, like he gives it away, I mean, to the people like in need. And it's like he's out there feeding the homeless and really, again, like walking the walk, not just talking the talk. And honestly, he'll be behind the scenes, like a lot of people, I mean, I'm sure have benefited from his work that don't even know him, don't even know about him, never seen his face, heard his voice, or anything like that. And that's if you're like that as a person, then you're gonna be like that as a friend. And we have fun together. I mean, that's a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun together.
So I do want to ask, right, in the intro and all that, right, talking about the books you've written, Vernon. So, like, I know, kind of veering off topic here. I know, I'm just curious, right? So, what got you into, right, wanting to write these books and publish these books? And, you know, and you said a lot of these books are, some of these books at least are targeted at children. You know, so just talk about that, the books you've written and why you went decide to write them.
It first started with my daughter Heaven and trying to go in her world. You know how you can have a person to watch your child, but that's just like they go it's things and guidelines that they abide by, but who will go in your child world to like really educate them in a way that they could learn. But and then I had like a spirit that like told me of like God told me. Because people think it is easy to write children books, but not the books that I write. So, like a voice told me, to mislead one child is worse than killing 10. So the education of like teaching the children to save themselves and give them salvation in my work, in the literature, is like meaning more to me than everything. Not just protecting my child, but protecting children around the world.
No, man, that's good stuff. And yeah, going and yeah, having literature where you can go and yeah, like you're saying, not just teach one kid a lesson, but go and teach kids around the world the same lesson I've learned. Super important, man.
I appreciate it.
And I'll say they're children's books, but everybody can learn from them because there's a lot of stuff. I mean, he's got books where like it might look like one way, but when you read deeper, once you get more educated, you see there's like a lot of hidden, like or more subtle messages in there, right? Like, I mean, I think back to like 2012 in his book, "They Can't Hurt Me No More," which is about bullying, and violence in schools and stuff, and about anti like LGBTQ bullying. And I'm thinking like, this is 2012, man. This dude's behind bars and he's got this consciousness about it and he's got this passion about it, right? And like it's not like his kid is of that identity, right? But he's like he knows it's an issue. And in universities in 2012 they're not even talking about that. In high schools, right? So like that's an advanced consciousness right there. I mean, I don't even know how he came to that, but that's something for another conversation. But like I read the books too and learn from them. And so yeah, they're children's books, but they're not just for children.
So when did you guys go and kind of right start moving beyond the case and just start talking as people?
I just knew the people that we was talking to had always had an excuse on why the salvation wasn't there, you know what I'm saying, and why the liberation wasn't there. And sometimes you can get justice in the court, but sometimes most time for us, you gotta get justice in the streets. And that's why we get to the streets and we get to the people. And the power of the people is mean more than just an individual or whoever think they in their high positions, you know what I'm saying? Because it take votes and community involvement for people to be in those positions as well. But certain times things be so sugar coated that they don't get to the meat of the matter. So you got to go where the hunger is really at, and it be at poverty, and that's where I come from. And I'm gonna be honest, like I struggled through prison, but I struggled before prison. You know what I'm saying? So it was different for me to. It was easy for me to really relate to the struggle and the people that struggle. You could be free and not free.
I mean, one is I think how open Vernon was to basically everything and anybody, how willing to help anybody he was and is. And also, man, like how strategic he is at the same time. But his strategy and his like politics are totally in sync with who he is. So, I mean, I remember like him talking about in the car one time we were driving and we had been doing like some interview or some podcast or some video, you know, and him telling me like, you know, it's like when you take your girl to church, right? Like you can give the sermon, right? But then you take her to church and like she hears it from the preacher and all of a sudden it sinks in, you know. He says that, and he's like, in a sense that's what it's like with you and me. Like I say something and then you say it in different words and it's like authorized, you know. And I was like, all right, yeah. Cause then I was thinking like, well, yeah, good. Cause then that makes people, not only does it authorize it, but we want it to make people think like, wait, damn, why wasn't it authorized the first time? You know, why didn't I believe it the first time this dude said it? Why did I have to wait till the white dude said it or the other dude said it with the credentials? And so that's again like an instance of me learning like and also building together, like we're like developing that because that's like it's like a collective development process because I mean I never been friends with somebody who's like stayed the same. We just stay at the same level, you got to be building something, and it doesn't have to be political, but you got to be like not tearing each other down but building each other up. And I mean the other thing is his artwork. I mean, he's a prolific artist, and I mean, there was a moment, in May or something like that, and I was at his apartment, and he like offhandedly was like, "Yo, you ever heard of the real Tarzan?" And I was like, "No, tell me." Right? And the reason is that my grandpa was a swimmer, and he was in the Olympics. He was the first person to swim a 100-yard freestyle in under 50 seconds, and he broke that record more. But the person whose record he broke was Johnny Weissmuller, who played Tarzan in the films. And so as soon as I heard the real Tarzan, I was like, what? Tell me about the real Tarzan. And he brings out this painting called The Belly of the Beast. And there's a video of it. Like we ended up just like kind of making a video of it, like and because it was so compelling, but to see the details and all of the like thought that went into this thing, and I'm like, man, this dude's teaching me about my own family history, like without knowing it, and made me, because my grandfather was very humble, like, and hated, like I didn't really, get the significance of it, right, until that moment. And then from there, like we're working together on titling things, and like kind of packaging the art shows that he's doing. Of course, he's in the driver's seat with that, but like it's fun. But, like it's not work, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not like I'm working for him as an assistant, like it's truly enjoyable. Like I leave and I'm like, man, I feel good, like I feel better, I feel like a stronger, like better, more dedicated person.
So, if you can, what would you say was the turning point for the friendship where it moved from strictly focusing on circumstances to focusing more on mutual interests and like really being like, yeah, this is my friend, and starting to go and like both like mutually invest and build off of
I'm gonna say this, like sometimes like I under the conditions I'm in, I still like smile, you know what I'm saying? So people will think that I'm okay and be like content with the level of the condition that I'm in. And I saw that him, like Derek was trying to really, he knew that it was deeper than just the smile, you know what I'm saying? And he was trying to really put the effort in to help me get out these chains. So that's for me, I took it like, yeah, I'm gonna ride with him all the way through. I'm gonna check him out, and we that's the bond. That's where it built from there for me. Cause people, and then if I don't say ouch. You know what I'm saying? I don't, and like I've been crying since I come out of prison, but in prison, it's hard to even cry because everything is considered weak, and it's either concrete and steel in there, so you got to be tough. You know what I mean? But I could be vulnerable. I could be, and he like really put me in positions where the world could use your vulnerability as a form of healing, you know what I'm saying, for different levels. And he can understand that. He can understand, well, they deny you for mental health because of this or this, or they saying it's kids, but when it's for them, they benefit, you gotta pay, and you gotta do this, and you gotta do this, So I just saw that he was trying to really make the effort. He comprehended a different level of my struggle beyond words, and he could read. He was, as we've been around each other, he started to read my emotions without me even having to explain, like almost like telekinesis.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's like a turning point. I mean, I can definitely remember, there was a time when we had scheduled to do an event together, and I was trying to get a hold of him, and when I did, he was like, "Man, I just can't do it," and I was just like, "All right," like everybody, I was like, "All right, man, don't worry about it," like because everybody's gonna understand, and it's gonna be fine, and we've got a backup plan, so you just call me when you're ready. um, and I think I mean, that's not just me. That's a whole like, because it's not just, like in terms of the actual struggle, it's not just me. Obviously, we could work as a collective. But I think that was when I was like, yeah, man, I realized for myself because honestly, like I don't have a whole lot of friends. Like, you know what I mean? Like I work a lot. I got a lot of comrades. I got a lot of colleagues, but I don't have a lot of friends. Because I don't have a lot of time. But that for me, that was the moment when I was like, damn, like, all right, like this is more than all that stuff, together. Um, and then yeah, when it was like, all right, yeah, dude, like just say less. And I would say that's one moment I realized that it was like, the deeper bond than that. And it's true about like sometimes we can just look at each other and let's start laughing. You know what I mean? Or just like have the same kind of look on our face because we know like we're thinking the same thing.
I think even in political circles, like you can get so focused on just getting stuff done, right? It's like, hey, we gotta go to this rally or this meeting or whatever. You can just get so caught up in doing so much that you can lose sight of the human to human connections that you're making and that you really should be pouring into. Because like, yeah, I think that, you know, you for example, right, like you in the party, like you can have, um, right, you say have colleagues and comrades and whatnot, right? But like, I think that that is also an opportunity for those relationships to evolve into friendships. It doesn't obviously have to be all of them, but I think it's a general opportunity if we don't get too consumed in the political work that we're doing.
Yeah, especially when that political work is it's not just like for some abstract vision, like, and that's the humanizing aspect of it. It's like, man, this isn't just some like floating idea we're fighting against. This is like flesh and blood, So that's a point well taken.
And also, speaking of politics and all that, now I'm actually curious. Vernon, um, talk about your political development and political growth, man. Like, now I'm curious. Tell me about you, man.
In a political aspect, in political parties, the people that is in them political positions, I reached out to them. And when you could be aware, you could be held accountable. You can't say I didn't know this or this didn't touch my desk. One of the political parties that did reach back to me was Andre Carson, and that's the congressman over the Indiana 7th district out here. And he been every time I ever reached out to him, and I was in a righteous form. He looked at the evidence and weighed it up and see that it tried to give me favor. You know what I'm saying? And trying to reach out right now. He's in a position that he put his best feet forward in his team to try to give me a clemency part. So that's what I'm working on now. That's the projects that we're moving right now with it. And any form of relief for me is like a win for me. Even though I'm trying to get exonerated, and everything. But however it comes, the door open for me because I'm under such severe stipulations that it's like, can anybody see like this man saying carrying the cross? Like, who you can't just watch. You gotta try to help. You know what I'm saying? Or a woman, a boy, a girl should be ashamed to say they growing and developing.
Definitely, man. It's not about, it's not a lot like people get so caught up and focused on the past and your past and just, oh, you did this or someone did this, whatever. And it's like, yes, right, take accountability, but also, right, like you can grow, you can move beyond that. Your past doesn't need to hold you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And neither does your present. I mean, like, I swear, I mean, I hope to God that in 5 years, I'm not the same as I am now. And so if we can just like start off with like everybody's got the potential to grow. I wasn't born like with this level of knowledge and this level of like, whatever, however low that might be still. Vernon's always got that, like that's his outlook on like, yeah, we could see, they might be able to do something. Right now maybe not, but like maybe, let's wait them out, Patience.
So, right earlier we brought up you guys brought up, right, learning from each other, and growing from each other. What would you say is the most important lesson you have learned from one another?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep fighting with everything we got. Give as long as we gave it all, and we could be tired. You know what I'm saying? Like 3, 4 in the morning, he gonna send a text to let me know we fighting and we going. He might got an idea and we advance off of it. We grow off it, build off each other ideas. It's almost like we got 48-hour clock, like 48-hour days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I said, like the gentleness and the humility, and also the, there's been times for sure where like I've, made a misstep because I don't realize that, Vernon's got like, I mean, he's, worked with how many people over how many years and gone through how much, right? That I still don't know about. And so there have been times when like, maybe I'll take an action or make a move or a proposal, and he'll be like, no, 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 and then explain why, right? And so like he's in the driver's seat for the struggle, because it's like he knows he's been through it, I ain't been through it. But I think that yeah, with Lon, the humility is like just the mentorship kind of, and the patience he's talking about, like he understands why I might do that, right? And so but it goes both ways too, right? And so I think that there's that mutual like kind of respect that like we both have a bunch of knowledge and experience, and like the only way to, like we got to bring that together, and that's not going to happen without like, without people making missteps or without mistakes.
Hold ourselves accountable. We humble enough to listen to each other opinions.
Yeah.
That's how a team work.
Yeah.
Right. I like it. I like it, man. And so now we're at the last question. Vernon, this is for you. It's kind of an open-ended question, right? But this is your time, right? What do you want to, right? Obviously, people are going to be listening to this. What do you want to tell the listeners, man?
Really don't give up no matter what. And I understand you might be in a position where the outer walls is closing in, or you understand that your sacrifice sometimes not don't even might be for you, or might be for your family, but it might be for the viewers, somebody that's watching this, listening to see that, you know what, I could go another day now, So your sacrifice that you're going through might not even be for you. God make a way out of no way though.
All right. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for coming on the show. And I'm definitely looking forward to putting this up. And I think it's going to be a great episode. Thank you. Thank you, Vernon. Thank you, Derek.
I'm grateful for you, man.
It's for Malcolm, Mr. Elder Hodgin. Y is for the youth. We need to organize them. Z is for Zimbabwe. Zulu or Zaire. Now I'm at my zenith, high up in the air. And I don't really care if I don't write no hook. As long as when you hear it, you go pick up a book and learn.